and then they have to reply to that.
Oh,
And
okay.
if there's an exception, I can do the form or whatever. So it's
Okay.
just an easy way to make sure that they're all, at least, they want a grade, so they usually do it.
That's a good idea. She said she has a midterm work ethic assignment and asks the students how they're doing or how they feel like they're doing.
It's good because sometimes they may go to administration and say, I was doing this and that, but then I can pull that up and it might say, I know it's my fault, I've had trouble, or and they'll admit things that they've done that they might not do.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. So that is a good suggestion, is having them do a midterm work ethic assignment. Because you said that some students will kind of admit that they've done this or haven't done this, and they will be documented in the assignment. So, okay, good suggestion. All right. The last thing, if you look on page 19, or last thing that I have, page 19, there's a academic calendar for fall and winter quarter. And it's just got some important dates on here. Notice some of the most important dates are bold. The fall quarter does begin October 6th. Notice the no-show rosters are due October 18th. Stopped attending forms due November 23rd. Quarter ends December 16th. Grades due by 3 p.m. So keep this handy and make sure you're getting those items in by the deadline. And don't forget, grades for summer quarter are due tomorrow by 3 p.m. It's not on here. And for spring and summer, we will be emailing updated calendars for those dates. So again, another reason to check your email. Okay. Do you have any other questions about the items that I covered? Or I'm going to turn it over to, yes?
Going back to the first one,
Uh-huh.
if the student asks you for a reference letter, are we allowed to do so, or does that need to come through?
No, instructors can write reference letters for students. Yes, yes. Typically you give those to the students, so that's, or if you're sending it to an employer, you may just want to get the student to sign that I've requested the instructor to send a reference letter. Okay. Yes?
I noticed that you can add your syllabus to Banner. Will the students be able to see that information?
You're better off doing that with Angel on this. Yeah, this is it's a little bit of trouble setting up the syllabus on Banner Web. So Angel's your better option there. She asked about if the syllabus could be put on Banner Web, but the better option for that is Angel. Yes?
I think the calendar shows that grades are due Thursday and
Oh, you're right. I was hoping it was Wednesday. Thanks for bringing that up. I had told you that grades were due tomorrow by 3 p.m. I was incorrect. Grades are due Thursday at 3 p.m. I was just really hoping it was Wednesday. Okay. Any other questions? Yes?
If I'm having trouble accessing my email from home, who should I contact? I'll cover that in a minute.
Okay.
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 What else can we do for students, no-show students, or no-show, stuff-attending students? And the reason why I'm asking that is a couple of my students this quarter got an F because they stuff-attended.
Mm-hmm.
It's just something personal. I hate doing that, but I don't have any choice but to give them an F. What else can we do? At least maybe to alert them or to make it really clear to them the
Yeah.
consequences of them either not withdrawing on time, in other words, trying to prevent them getting a F at the end of the quarter, which can actually bring their GPA down.
Right.
Which we're trying to get into some quick programs here.
Right. He asked what we could do if a student stopped attending and you've got to give them an F. They didn't officially withdraw. I would suggest that you, at the beginning of the quarter, stress to students the importance, if they are going to have to stop attending, that they do a withdrawal form or drop form so that they won't be penalized. As long as they do that by the midterm, they get a W grade. Other options, if a student has stopped attending and it's been a week or two, You could call them and, or email them, ask them what's happened, and again, reiterate that they should complete a drop form or withdrawal form.
If I can just follow up on that, just give a really good example. I got an email from a student. Of course, didn't communicate with me, for a long time. But then finally she did, and apparently she's been in the hospital.
Okay.
Wow.
Yes.
She didn't have
Yes.
access to email or
Right.
phone,
Right.
whatever. And I said, well, it's not where you can make all the tests and quizzes.
Yeah.
and exams.
Right.
That might be better for you to just go ahead and retake the class, but.
Right. Okay.
It's a predicament, I have to give her an F.
Okay, he's got an example where a student was in the hospital and was unable to access her email. Now, if there's extenuating circumstances, such as a student being ill in the hospital or maybe a death in the family, those types of issues, if the student provides documentation, then we can give the student W grade. So that is an option. Or incomplete is another option if you feel that if a student is given an I grade, it's incomplete, they have to complete the course within the first 4 weeks of the next quarter. For some classes, that's an option. For others, it's not. Maybe they have to be there for lab times, and the class is not offered the next quarter, that type of thing. So that is another option.
Yes, to kind of piggyback on also what Dr. Singh was saying. Also, I have to go through that too with giving else for students stop attending.
Mm-hmm.
And then look back at the stop attending form. A lot of the students will come up until that particular date, and you be to submit your stop attending forms, and then they'll stop attending a day or so after you submit that form. What do you do at that point in time? Because I had 2 students this quarter. They came up until the stop attending form was submitted. Once I submitted the stop attending form, they had shown up.
Yeah. Yeah, she said that she's had a couple of students who attended up until the day that the stopped attending forms were due, and then stopped attending after that date. And basically, you give them an F.
And you can resubmit their names even though they stopped attending after that.
They only want students who stopped attending up to that certain date, I think 6th week of the quarter. So, well, VA, I think Pale, that's a financial aid issue.
Like, for instance, this quarter, I had a student that had been attending up until that particular date. On that date, they did not show up, but I couldn't submit their name because I didn't know if they were just going to be absent per se that one particular night. So therefore, I didn't submit their name. And then they have to come back to class anymore this quarter.
But if you make sure to keep the accurate attendance record on the day that they actually stop, that's good, because what may happen is someone from the student affairs office may ask you about that particular student at some point, and then you can just let that person know that John Doe stopped attending on August 14th.
Okay. I do have that record.
Yeah.
What's the, I guess the threshold, if you will, regarding reporting students when it comes to stop attending? Okay, now when I receive, for example, a form, let's just say the student stopped attending a week prior. Okay, would that be a threshold? Because if it's a week prior, it could be that they're out because they're sick. Okay, so what's the threshold? Is it 2 weeks out prior to the form?
I think we've said 2 weeks, haven't we? I think 2 weeks.
2 weeks prior?
Yes.
You can summarize those two questions.
Okay, he'd ask about the stopped attending. What's the threshold there? If a student has been, on the day the stopped attending forms are due, have been out 2 weeks, they definitely need to be listed on that form. So, okay. Any other?
I have one question. We now have a WP code, a withdrawal passing code. What's the procedure for that? Because I'm not real clear on that.
Okay. If a student does drop a class after the midterm, we do have a WP option and a WF option. They do need to fill out the paperwork to drop or withdraw. And to get the WP, the instructors basically have to notify us that they have the WP grade. That doesn't happen very often, and we'll usually get in touch with the instructors or have the student contact the instructor if they're requesting a WP grade.
What is
Withdrawal passing.
You can withdraw and still pass the class?
It's a WP. It means you withdrew, but at the time you withdrew, you were passing. You don't get academic credit for it, but it's not, doesn't give you academic penalty. It's like an F or a WF would.
Yeah, this also has to do with attendance. How strict are we as far as students missing more than 3 classes, 3 or 4 absences? I know the policy says that the instructor has the discretion to I guess, drop the grade by 1 letter grade or something like that. How strict are we with that?
Okay, he'd ask about the attendance policy and how strict we are with that. If it's stated in your syllabus, you really should be following your syllabus. So.
There are just a couple of items that brought me back to the stage. One is on the website, the Southern Crescent Technical College website that Karen pulled up, there is the student handbook and the student catalog. Please take some time, if you haven't already, to go through that student handbook. That has our policies on incompletes, withdrawals, behavior issues in the classroom. And a lot of instructors, including full-time instructors who have been here a long time, will ask me a question, and I think, go to page 14, it's been in the catalog forever, but they forget to look there. And of course, our students forget to look there as well. But do familiarize yourself with that. Students might ask you questions, and if you have the answers or can direct them, that gives them an instant answer to a question, and they don't have to keep trying to track down somebody else who does know. So if you can help, that's a good thing. We also have more and more students who are asking for credit by examination or experiential credit. Those come up a lot. They may ask you that. Sometimes they come and say, my teacher said this or this, and I have to correct it, or we have to correct it. And you hate to do that if you can avoid it. Experiential credit, it used to be just kind of on-the-job training that they would get credit for, but over time it's become too easy to falsify that information. So really, when we talk about experiential credit, we're talking about formalized training somewhere else. Maybe through the military they took something and they actually have a certificate or a transcript-like document that proves they were in some type of formalized training. Also, for instance, if you teach SCT 100, that Introduction to Microcomputers, maybe you go through Microsoft and you get their Microsoft Office Support Specialist, which is kind of the highest credential that you can get on Microsoft Office software. That's a meaningful credential. So for experiential credit, it does have to be a formalized, documented training. It can't just be your boss saying for 20 years, you've done this job. So that's a question that students get confused about. Also, credit by examination or an exemption test. We do offer those for all of our classes. We're obligated to do that. It has to be for a current student, so not a brand new student can't do this. A current student, they register for the class during current student registration. They pay the exemption fee, which is 25% of the cost of the class, and that's non-refundable. There's a document that they have to fill out. They have to get approval by a dean. Then we arrange for that test to be administered and proctored. They have to make an 80% on that, and once that happens, we turn in a grade form, and where the student's class is, they'll get credit, but where a grade would be on their transcript, it will say EX for exemption. It will also see EX if it gets through experiential learning. I don't expect you to remember that. I just wanted to kind of let you know those are things that we're being asked about more often. They are covered in the student handbook, but it would be useful for you, I think, to browse through that handbook and really update yourself on some of the policies and procedures that we have. I think you'll find a lot of information that, we either told you and you forgot, or we forgot to tell you, but that'll be a great way to clarify some important information for you and the students to know.